Hello, YouTube. Welcome to Hip Hop. Welcome to Hip Hop Outreach Podcast. I'm on here to talk about the music industry. Why most people are only in it. And I'm finna share how temporary the music industry is. Because there's a bunch of people pleasing in hip hop. There's a bunch of people pleasing in hip hop. There's a bunch of people pleasing in hip hop. And that's what I'm on here to share about. Yeah, so there's a bunch of people pleasing in hip hop. And I'm sure how temporary it can be. If you're only if you're only in the music industry for one thing, for people to worship you, people to like you, you know, I'm not sure how temporary that is. How empty how empty that is if that's the only reason that you are in hip hop, or that's the only reason that you in it, or you listen to it because you want people to worship you. If you're only in the music industry, this message goes out to the artists in hip hop with the explicit lyrics and the people that listen. If you're only in hip hop for people to worship you, that's temporary. The Bible says in 2 Corinthians 4, what you see is temporary. It's temporary. If you only in the music industry for people to worship you and to get a roaring crowd, that's gonna that ain't gonna last very long. That's the only reason that you in the music industry, you in hip hop, this to do music, that's boring. What's gonna what's gonna happen when it end, when the people don't want to buy your stuff no more? What's gonna happen then? Because people can let you down. See, they put these artists on the pedestal, and we're not supposed to do that. If you're only in hip hop for people to worship you, that is temporary. That won't last. Those in hip hop, what's gonna happen when you can't cuss no more in there? What's gonna happen then? You depending on people. Talking about people got love for you. That ain't no love. That's fake love. That's fake love. If you're only in hip hop, if you're only in hip hop for people to worship you, the money, the fame, a roaring crowd, that's gonna end real quick. Only being in hip hop just for people to follow you and worship you and all that, that's temporary. That won't last long. That will not last long. That is empty. Only reason somebody people in hip hop, most of them is only in it for the fortune, the fame, the money, the cars, the clothes. But how quick people will desert you? They really will. And you say, "Oh, these people love me." They don't love you. They do not love you. They love what you got. They love what you got. If you're only if you're only in hip hop, if you're only in hip hop music for people to worship you, that's temporary. People will let you down. It's empty. You're only in the music industry for somebody to worship you and to get a roaring crowd. That's temporary. The Bible says in Second Corinthians 4:18, what you see is temporary. The money, the cars, the fame, the people worshiping you, the temporary. The platinum records on the wall, it's all temporary. It's temporary. And that's what people live for in hip hop. If you're only in hip hop for people to worship you and the people to follow you, it's empty. They can let you down. They can let you down. It's empty. It won't last. It don't matter how many platinum records you got. You can't die with it. It's empty. If you're only in hip hop, if you're only in hip hop for people to worship you, that is temporary. So cussing in hip hop, all the nasty lyrics, that won't last long either. It's all temporary. I'd rather use the gift that God gave me to represent him. Okay. So if you take all the cussing out of hip hop, the people won't listen to it. They won't listen to it no more. But most people, that's the only reason why they in it. But if that's the only reason that you in it, for fortune and fame and get people to worship you, that's temporary. That's empty. 2 Corinthians 4:18. What you see is temporary. The money, the fame, the platinum records is all temporary. It's temporary. And people will let you down. I'd rather use my gift to be what God want me to be. And there's no such thing as no Christian rapper. That's a label. Christian rapper and CHH, that's a label. And there's no such thing as no gangster rapper. These are labels. It's a label. So it's boring. It's boring being in the music industry. If that's all you in it for is people to worship you and to gratify yourself, that's empty. It don't matter how many platinum records you get, or it's all empty. It's all empty. I do music. That's empty. That's empty. It really is. If you're only in hip hop for people to worship you, that's temporary. I'd rather use my gift to glorify Jesus and represent him. So this is Hip Hop Outreach Podcast. We on that Matthew 28:16, where we reaching the community. I'd rather use the gift that God gave me to represent Jesus, to spread God's truth. Cause soon as they stop cussing in their lyrics, ain't nobody gonna buy it no more. It's empty if you only in the music industry for fortune and fame and for people to follow you. That's all empty. Christ ways the better way. A relationship with Christ. Hip Hop Outreach Podcast, Matthew 28:16. Bye bye. Peace out.